Twilight Gets a Puppy. By TDR. Chapter 100. Winter Woof Up. Part 6. Clang. Yes. Pay up, suckers. Rainbow Dash shouted as a little rocket of white shot through the large cloud arcing over the town towards the edge of the Everfree. A yellow Pegasus flew quickly after the white furry hoofball, fretting. Clang. Ooh, good distance. Pinkie Pie cheered while ducking as Ross went sailing over her head to crash into the side of some pony's house, knocking all the snow off the roof from the impact. With a whumph of white powder, Ross was buried under the mini avalanche with only his tail sticking out. Right, I had about enough of that. Applejack snapped before pointing the massively dented snow shovel up at the cloud of Pegasi. You lot's been slacking off enough. We're already running late, so get back to clearing them clouds. Double time. Or else. Or else what? Thunderlane grumbled, paying his bid bet to Dash. Or I'll try to even out my shovel with a few more swings. Applejack growled. On it. Dash smirked, packing the bits away in her saddle bag before taking off with a kick that started dissipating the cloud they had been on. Pinkie Pie, you done with that pawns? Yepers. Pinkie Pie chimed up and every pony tensed, eyes wide as they looked at the pink mare. Right, go help clean up the mess these two made in town. All right, Applejack added quickly. Okie dokie. Pinkie Pie pronked off. You four. Applejack pointed the hoof holding the shovel at the CMC, finally noticing she was doing it when the three fillies hid behind Spike. Oops, sorry. Applejack lowered the heavily dented snow shovel. You four get Ross back to the library and make sure I didn't wallop him too hard. Stay there and make sure he's really fine. Ya can try your hoof at Doctor's Cutie Marks or something. Cutie Mark Crusaders paramedics, yay. The girls cheered, rushing over to flip Ross onto Scootaloo's wagon, stampeding off with the unconscious Moondog. Spike sighed, glancing after the girls and then up at Applejack. You are a cruel mare, you know that. I am tired of being late with the winter wrap-up every year. Applejack snorted. Sides, I told what would happen if I caught fighting around me again. What did they break this time? Spike asked with a groan. Nothing that I know of, but they buried me in an avalanche. That counts. Applejack nodded. Fair enough. I need to go save my brother from the tender care of those three. He doesn't need to be back in the hospital again. Spike shrugged, toddling off after the three girls. They were easy to follow as Sweetie Belle was trying to make the wee-oh noise of an ambulance. Applejack sighed, looking around at the other ponies who had gathered around, watching her from a number of different work crews. Well? What are y'all waiting for? Winter's not gonna wrap itself up. Applejack shouted, sending them all running back to what they were supposed to be doing. Asterisk. Applejack trotted back towards the south field, taking note that it was still covered in snow. The rest of the teams had gotten back to work. The weather team actually doubling their efforts in an attempt to remain on Applejack's good side, and so they didn't have to hear Rainbow Dash bragging about her win. The north field was clear and the rest of the team had moved on to the next vital farm when she arrived back at the farm. Though as she approached, she noticed Big Mac was helping Twilight out of the hole in the snow that she had been trapped under when Applejack had left. Dang, took ya that long to get out of there, Twilight. Applejack called as she trotted up, her bent snow shovel resting over her shoulder. I figured you were pushing yourself too hard, but I didn't think it was that bad. Been nearly an hour. Applejack paused as she walked up between her brother and her friend, taking note of the sudden distance between the pair of them as she approached. It was also worth noting that Twilight's hair was more than a little ruffled and Big Mac's usual mess of a mane looked like he had recently tried to straighten it. There was also the fact neither of them would meet her eyes, nor each other's. Applejack might have been born during the day, but it wasn't yesterday. Mac, ya got some purple lipstick on your face there. Applejack stated with an evil grin. Big Mac quickly shot a hoof up to attempt to wipe it off. What? But I don't wear lipstick. Twilight protested, looking back over at Mac only to catch sight of the wide, and somewhat sinister, grin on Applejack's face. Oh buck me! Twilight grumbled, hiding her face with her hooves as she turned nearly as red as Big Mac. Y'all can save that for later or something, we still got work to do. Applejack chuckled as Twilight covered her head with her hooves and tried to bury herself back in the snow. Author's note. Short, but I split it. Epilogue posting now as well. End author's note. End chapter 100. Winter Woof Up. Part 6.